Joseph of Egypt, the incredible story of fight, betrayal, and divine purpose. Imagine a world where destiny is not shaped by kings or armies, but by dreams. Where fight is the only answer amidst storms of envy and betrayal. And where a young man, sold into slavery and forgotten in a dungeon, becomes the savior of nations. This is the Justa story. It's the epic saga of Joseph of Egypt. A journey that defies logic, touches the soul, and reveals a divine purpose in every twist and turn. Get ready to dive into one of the most moving and inspiring narratives of all time. Born into a great family, Joseph was the son of Jacob in his old age, and because of that, the most loved. This favoritism, symbolized by a dazzling coat of many colors, ignited a dangerous fear in the hearts of his brothers. Jealousy turned to bitterness, and envy became hatred. Joseph was different, not just because of his father's love, but for something deeper. It was a dream. Joseph had two powerful dreams. In one, his staff of grain stood upright while his brothers' staves bowed down to it. In the other, the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed before him. These dreams, full of symbolism and promises of greatness, didn't inspire admiration, but certainty in his brothers that Joseph saw himself as superior. Their resentment grew, fueled by their father's favoritism and the youngest brother's prophetic visions. The tension was unbearable, and at any moment, the sticking bomb of envy could explode. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers working far away in the fields. Anywhere, Joseph walked straight into the cruelest trap of his life. Seeing him from a distance, the plot began. Hearts hardened by jealousy conspired the unthinkable. They seized Joseph, stripped off his tunic, the symbol of their father's love, and threw him into an empty cistern. A pit that became a grave of hope, a tomb for innocence. The abandonment and betrayal could deeper than any wound. Alone in the darkness, Joseph felt the weight of the world crashing down. Fight, in that moment, was his only companion. As Joseph lay in the pit, a caravan of Ismaelite traders approached. Judah, one of his brothers, proposed an even cruel alternative, saying, "Turn their brother into a commodity." For 20 silver coins, Joseph was sold. His life was bargained away by those who should have protected him. Freedom stolen, families shattered, hope in ruins. The journey to Egypt was a march of pain and uncertainty. From beloved son to slave. But destiny, or rather, divine purpose, was only beginning to unfold. In Egypt, Joseph was purchased by Potiphar, a ranking officer of Pharaoh. Even in slavery, Joseph's character and God's blessing on his life were undeniable. Everything attached prospered. His intelligence, honesty, and dedication quickly earned a position in Potiphar's household. From slave, he rose to become a chief administrator of the estate. Potiphar trusted him completely. But Joseph's rise also caught the wrong kind of attention. Potiphar's wife, a woman of stunning beauty and questionable morals, was drawn to the young Hebrew. Day after day, she tried to seduce him. But Joseph's integrity was unshakable. His faith in God was a fortress. And that given in God betrayed not only Potiphar's trust, but God himself. In desperation, so I grabbed him, but Joseph fled, choosing honor over sin, leaving his garment in her hands. Then came the lie, a wicked shadow cast over his life. The tunic that once symbolized his father's love now became a false evidence of guilt. Deceived by his wife, Potiphar had Joseph thrown into prison. Once again, Joseph was betrayed. Once again, injustice devoured him. But even in the depths of an Egyptian dungeon, God's presence never left him. There, Joseph met two of Pharaoh's officials, the chief baker and the chief cupbearer, but tormented by strange dreams. God had given Joseph the gift of interpretation, a gift that would become the key to his redemption. With divine precision, he revealed the meaning of each dream. The cupbearer would be restored, the baker would be executed, and it happened just as he had said. Before the cupbearer was released, Joseph made a heartfelt request. "When you are free, remember me, mention me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this prison." But once free, the cupbearer forgot him. 2 long years dragged by. Joseph's hope seemed to wither. The silence of the prison was deafening. The abandonment a constant ache. Yet divine purpose was still unfolding. 2 years. 2 years of being forgotten. But then, God moved. Pharaoh began having disturbing dreams that none of his wise men could interpret. 7 fat cows were devoured by 7 skinny ones. 7 healthy ears of grain swallowed by 7 scorched ones. The kingdom was in panic. In that moment, the cupbearer remembered. He told Pharaoh about Joseph. In an instant, Joseph was lifted from the depths of the dungeon to the grandeur of the royal palace. From prisoner to advisor, with wisdom that only comes from above, Joseph interpreted the dreams. 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of famine. And more than just interpretation, he offered a brilliant plan to save Egypt. Appoint a wise man to store a fifth of the harvest during the good years. Pharaoh was astonished. Joseph's wisdom was undeniable. This wasn't mere human insight. It was the mark of a divine purpose. And in a moment, everything changed. The slave, the prisoner, became Egypt's second most powerful man. Joseph, now called Zaphenath-Paneah, married and had 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, names symbolizing the healing of his pain and the fruitfulness of his journey. During the 7 years of abundance, he acted with vision and diligence. Cities and storehouses were built. Grain was stored in unimaginable amounts. Joseph was determined, knowing the good years were a blessing, but also a warning. Egypt was prepared. The rest of the world, blind to the coming disaster. The prophecy came true. Famine swept through the lands. Desperation grew. But in Egypt there was bread. Joseph had prepared the way. News of grain in Egypt reached Jacob in Canaan. The famine struck his family hard. With a heavy heart, Jacob sent his 10 eldest sons to Egypt to buy food. They had no idea they were about to face the brother they had betrayed. And there they were, the brothers who had thrown him into the pit, who had sold him into slavery, now bowed before him, before a powerful Egyptian official. Joseph's dreams were coming true, but not in the way he had imagined as a young boy. Divine justice was unfolding. Joseph recognized them instantly, but to them, he was a distant, intimidating vizier. He tested them, accusing them of being spies, and demanding they bring their younger brother, Benjamin. The mention of Benjamin and the weight of Joseph's memory stirred their guilt. They returned to Canaan burdened, and Jacob suffered greatly at the thought of sending Benjamin away. But hunger forced their return with Benjamin. When Joseph saw him, he could barely contain his emotions. But the final test was yet to come. He planted his silver cup in Benjamin's sack, then had them pursued. The cup was found, and despair overwhelmed the brothers. Would Benjamin, Jacob's beloved, now become a slave? At that moment, Judah, the same Judah who once proposed selling Joseph, stepped forward. He offered himself in Benjamin's place. Joseph's heart could bear no more. That sacrifice, that change of heart, that proof of love conquering hatred, it broke him. Through tears, Joseph revealed himself. I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? The brothers were stunned. Joseph comforted them. Don't be distressed or angry for selling me here. It was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. A powerful reconciliation followed. Joseph embraced each of them with love. The news that Joseph was alive and ruler of Egypt seemed unbelievable to Jacob, but when he saw the royal chariots and gifts his son had sent, his spirit revived. He would go to Egypt. The reunion of father and son was pure emotion and forgiveness. The family, once broken by envy and betrayal, was restored by love and divine purpose. Joseph provided generously for his family, and they flourished in the land of Goshen. Years later, as Jacob neared death, he blessed his sons and made one final request: to be buried in Canaan. Joseph honored his father's wish. Even after Jacob's death, the brothers feared revenge, but Joseph, with deep wisdom and compassion, reassured them. Don't be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to save many lives. Joseph lived to 110 years, witnessing his descendants thrive in Egypt. Before he died, he reaffirmed his faith in God's promise. God will surely come to your aid and take you up from this land to the land he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The story of Joseph of Egypt is more than an ancient account. It's a timeless testimony of overcoming betrayal, of unshakable faith, and of how God works in mysterious and perfect ways. Joseph, a young dreamer, endured envy, betrayal, and prison, but through every trial, his divine purpose unfolded. His life teaches us that even in the darkest moments, faith is the compass that guides us. Forgiveness is the bridge that rebuilds what was broken. And above all, there is a greater purpose behind every challenge. The evil done to us can be transformed by divine hands into something beautiful, not just for us, but for many. Let Joseph's journey inspire you to look beyond adversity, trust in God's plan, and find your own purpose, no matter how twisted the road may seem. Because, as Joseph discovered, God's hand is in every detail, turning pain into triumph and hope into reality. If this story touched your heart, leave a like, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel for more life-changing stories. What lesson spoke to you the most in Joseph's story? Leave your comment below.